What's going on, Bears fans? I am currently in shock. We are watching our beloved team and almost all the players that we somewhat admire or cheered for or were a pillar in our team slowly get ripped apart. You hear the news about the Bears allowing Akeem Hicks to explore trade options. We released Kyle Fuller as a cap casualty by the complete fault of Ted Phillips, Ryan Pace, and Matt Nagy having no idea how to build a team and where to extrapolate funds to. We lost Brett Urban, who's not as big as a piece as those two, but was still a really big contributing factor. Cordell Patterson has still not heard anything from the Chicago Bears since the end of the season. And Andy Dalton's our starting quarterback. At this point, it's kind of like, I feel like I'm a 16th century peasant that has its arms and legs wrapped to 4 horses. And, if the Andy Dalton signing took my arm, Kyle Fuller getting released took my other arm, Akeem Hicks it's essentially about to be traded. And at this point, I have one more leg to stand on. Which, at this point, it's like after these first couple moves, you're already numb. It's just, I don't understand how they can be making these moves and still be trying to save their jobs. Guys, at this point, I don't know if they're, I don't know. I can't walk a mile, let alone 10 feet in Ryan Pace's shoes right now, because I have no clue what he's doing. What, are you gonna trade away all our assets and trade up for a quarterback that's not even gonna start for you this year because you promised Andy Dalton the starting job? And is Andy Dalton going to carry our defense after losing our Pro Bowl corner and our Pro Bowl defensive lineman? You still whiffed on Robert Quinn, so he's not anywhere to be found. You picked Danny Trevathan over Nick Kwiatkowski, so you really only have one really athletic, really talented, and we're talking top 5 linebacker, top 10 linebacker. You're kidding yourself if you think Danny Trevathan's in the top 15 or top 20. He's out of his prime. I don't understand. And the only thing that I can be led to believe at this moment in time is Pace has more time. Pace and Nagy have more time than they've told us. We were told that they were on the hot seat, and so far all of the moves that they have made point to the complete opposite direction of them having the keys to what looks like another rebuild. I don't know. How are we going to be competitive next year, guys? I know Detroit sucks. Detroit always sucks, but they beat us one time this year. They should have beat us twice if DeAndre Swift didn't drop that touchdown pass. We lost to the Vikings, I think, both times. We may have won the second time, but I can't quite remember. And Green Bay wipes the floor with us every year. That's just in our own division, let alone the NFC. You got the Rams with Matthew Stafford. Seattle still has Russell. San Francisco's probably going to bounce back. I mean, shit, guys. We look like we'd be competing in the AFC or NFC East at this point. I mean, it's just disappointing to watch your franchise get ripped apart in front of you and be lied to about it from the top down, and just realize how dysfunctional this franchise is. We are no longer the proud franchise that we thought we were. You know, I hear fucking Peter Schrager and motherfucking some other dude on Good Morning Football talking about, well, they needed a quarterback. Well, you know what? Shout out Kay Adams for actually holding their feet to the fire a little bit, saying, well, what about Nick Foles? What about Mitch Trubisky? What about Mike Glennon? What about Mark Sanchez? It's just, I don't know. I don't know anymore, guys. I really don't know what's happening. There's no plan of action that anybody can see, unless you're trying to acquire draft capital, which, what's that going to do? We still don't have a quarterback. You're just replacing guys who were established, who were fundamental pieces on our team. And you're just completely butchering our salary cap. I mean, we're talking, it's like you paid Germani Fetty, Andy Dalton, and Jimmy Graham all this money, and now we have to get rid of Kyle Fuller and Akeem Hicks as our cap casualties? You signed Angelo Blackson, but you let Roy Robertson Harris and Brett Urban walk? What? You're not going to give Allen Robinson the money. You won't pay CP. David Montgomery's on a rookie contract. Where the hell are the funds? What are we paying for? We got Akeem Hicks and Roquan Smith and Eddie Jackson on the defensive side of the ball. And Khalil Mack and Eddie Jackson redid their contracts. Where's the money going? I honestly have to look this up because I don't know specifically the answer, but our team looks like shit right now, and we're not that far above the cap, if we're above the cap at all. It's just, we're getting run into the ground. I don't know, like, are we trying to tank? I don't know what's happening. I would be mad. I would be screaming. But what is there to scream about? Like I said, the analogy of getting ripped apart after the first couple blows. I mean, what's a couple more? Ripping the other legs off. There's nothing to feel anymore. This team is just, as you can see, being run into the ground. We're not built to contend. I don't know how we're trying to build to contend. And we're being led by absolute fucking morons. And that's the only way I can say it. These people know nothing about football. They're absolute nincompoops. They shouldn't have their jobs, and this is all nepotism. That's all it is. Them being little bitches and not willing to face the music. They still haven't come out and said anything. They're just hiding. Like little fucking bitches. And that's the word I'm going to call them, because that's exactly what they are. You're going to make a move that you know is going to piss off our entire fan base. Come out and say it. Say why you did it. Say what's the plan. If you're going to trade up, what the fuck's the difference if everybody in the fucking league knows you're trying to trade up? Doesn't matter with who. And that doesn't even make sense. Because you're going to trade up, but then still you're going to pay Nick Foles, you're going to pay Andy Dalton, and then you're going to draft a rookie quarterback? When we have obvious O-line issues, especially at the right tackle position, which we're just ignoring. We obviously have issues at D-line because our only two productive ones are Eddie Goldman and Khalil Mack. Bilal Nichols is there, yeah, but you're paying Robert Quinn a boatload of money for not doing shit. Danny Trevathan's fallen off. Roquan is Roquan, obviously. But behind Jalen Johnson, who do you have? There's no corner you trust. I mean, you have guys that, maybe on the up and coming somewhat, but no Kyle Fuller. What are you going to do with strong safety? You're not paying Deshaun Gibson. He walked. I don't know what's happening. I really don't. And, you know, for older Bears fans, like, I think Slag TV, he's probably over there saying, yeah, I'm used to it. I mean, I'm only 21. I'm not used to this shit. This is fucking pathetic. This is like, I don't even know, pure self-destruction. Like, it's sad. Really sad. And Allen Robinson signed his extension. Or not his extension, his franchise tag, which, okay. Is that what we're happy about, Bears fans? Allen Robinson's going to be the only bright spot in our offense again besides David Montgomery until week 10 versus some of the shittiest defenses in the league. And then proceed to go into the fucking playoffs and against our arch rival and not do shit in the run game. Not even use Mitchell Trubisky's best asset, his feet. Which that's Nagy's fault. Completely. You don't know how to use players. You were brought here to develop this quarterback. And you did everything you could to not do what he was good at until the very, very end. Very end. And even then, when we got to New Orleans and Green Bay, you completely shit the fucking bed. From the top down, guys, it's pathetic. And you saw both Eddie Jackson's tweet. It's getting ridiculous. And they're losing a locker room. It's going to look like last year on that 7-game. We got saved by a glaring downhill stretch in our schedule where we were facing easy opponents, just sliding through. But before that, we were playing the best teams in the league. And look what happened. 7 straight losses. I get we got past the point. I mean, we're already past the point of you should have been fired because they're saying, oh, our bounce back from a 7-game losing streak. There never should have been one. We're past that, of course. But there's no reason for hope. There's no reason to have hope at this point. You can leave a comment telling me what you think's going to happen. The Bears are going to bring in another quarterback. That was thrown out the window when they promised Andy Dalton the starting job. So what do you make of that? You gave the guy your word. He's obviously out here saying it. You could obviously go back on your word, but then all of a sudden, then you're lying to players. And you're being deceiving. You're deceiving players and telling them things that aren't true. And then no one's going to come. At least with this GM, potentially it could have effects way down the line. Don't know what's happening. Don't know what they're doing, what they're planning. But at this point, it just looks like they're being completely ignorant, moronic, idiotic in their duties of trying to make this a winning football team. It's going to be a long year. It's going to be a very, very long year. I don't know where this bright spot comes in. We couldn't beat any good teams last year, so we're going to beat good teams this year with a shittier roster. Same head coach that doesn't like to fucking change, doesn't like to adjust. We're going to be saved by Sean Desai because he was touched by Vic Fangio. It's the Sean McVay effect. Everyone thinks whoever's touched by Vic Fangio is going to turn into a great defensive coordinator. That's not true. I hope he does well. I'm rooting for him. But that's not true. That doesn't mean he's going to be great just because he's associated with Vic Fangio. It's just going to be, I don't see a route of a good season. And just prepare for a long season and just pray. Just pray that Pace and Nagy are on their last leg. Because at this point, it looks like they still got a few more lives. And with the incompetence of Ted Phillips and and the whole McCaskey family, you can see it. I mean, you think a coach that lost 7 straight games, a GM that has 1 winning season in 6 years, would be gone. But nope. But let's fire Lovie Smith at 10-6. You want to pull a race card? That's kind of what it's looking like. I don't even know. I'm not saying that the McCaskies are racist. I'm just saying it don't make no sense. I'm trying to find a reason. They're just completely incompetent. And, guys, if there's anyone to point your anger at, don't point it at Andy Dalton. Show love to the players that were released. Don't show any frustration towards them. Wish them the best. Point it right at the GM, the head coach, the president of operations, and the McCaskies. Those are the 4. And just helm them. I don't care if they don't see Instagram posts. Keep posting. Show your disdain. Send them an email. You know, Schleg TV always says, you know, try to get out while you can if you're young. Yo, if this shit keeps going, I'm not gonna have any hair. My hair is fucking crazy right now. I haven't been to a barber in probably since the middle of last year, June. And I'm gonna be losing my hair with these fucking decisions that this team is making. It's tough. Just enjoy. Watch some Akeem Hicks, Kyle Fuller highlights. Watch some draft stuff. Try to get your mind off this team. Because no matter what way you look at it, it's going to be rough. It's going to be painful. It's going to be disappointing. So with that, deuces Bears fans, and try not to rip all your hair out.